I remember coming out of university without a penny in my pocket. In fact, I was in student debt. I was struggling to pay my monthly bills and I felt like I was working just to make ends meet. To top things off, we were in the midst of the biggest recession the West had seen for 100 years and I wanted to get rich. And at that point, I couldn't see how that was ever going to happen. Little did I know that there were some clear signs that I was going to become rich. I've now become a bit of an expert in spotting the traits and the signs that someone will go on to become wealthy. Let me know in the comments which one you think is the most important. You know that phrase, money won't solve your problems? It's a load of rubbish. There's nothing worse than someone rich saying to you that money is not going to solve your problems. Trust me, I've been there. You see, I believe in general there are two types of problems we all face. The first are your basic need problems. These are things like water, housing, healthcare and food. Now, if you're facing these type of problems, the answer to all of these is clear. You need to earn more money. When you have fixed these basic needs, your focus turns to the second type, which are the more abstract problems. These are problems that money definitely can't fix, such as love, relationships, happiness and fulfillment. For me, that's always been about spending time with my family, enjoying my hobbies and running a business that I'm passionate about. Of course, you can definitely not have a lot of money and be happy, but also you can be very rich but very sad and lonely as well. The puppet masters, be it the government or the careers counselors, have brainwashed people into thinking that they don't need money. What they need is a rigid path to a steady career. This is why most people trade years, decades, the prime of their life working a job they hate for a tiny salary. If I see that someone actually buys into that type of thinking that money won't solve their problems or that it's not desirable, then I can't imagine how they're going to be driven enough to actually get rich. Even when I was completely broke, I never thought this way. If you're able to ignore all of this conditioning, only then will you be able to get ready and formulate a plan to make yourself become a millionaire. When you see an obstacle, you strive to overcome it. It doesn't deter you. You don't quit. You actually strategically up the game plan instead. Successful self-made people focus on opportunities rather than the things holding them back. They don't give up. They have what we call resilience. And that's something that you can learn as well. Now is one of the best times ever to start a new side business, as there are so many industries that are booming online. Of course, you're still going to encounter some sort of obstacles along the path. Let's suppose that you've got a brilliant idea that you think that can make you a lot of money. What's that idea worth to you? Well, it's not going to be worth a lot if you don't work on it and give up at the first sign of an obstacle. Ideas are 10 a penny, as we say in the UK, a dime a dozen, as they say in the US. Have you ever chatted to a friend and they tell you that they've got a great business idea that they think will make them successful and they're extremely motivated and they're certain that it will make them rich? You then ask them a couple of months later, how's that business idea that you said you were going to start? And you're hoping that they'll say they've started and they've done X, Y, Z and they're building things up and sales are growing. But then they say, oh, that idea, oh, that one, I haven't started that. It wasn't that good. In fact, there's not enough support. You know, I don't have the time and the economy sucks right now. They've got so many excuses. When most people have a business idea, they think about the problems and the challenges. They give up. They don't see it through. When self-made millionaires come across a problem, they might take a pause to think or go for a walk or a run to clear their head, but they don't give up. They've got what we call resilience. Self-made millionaires strike when they have the most passion and thus the most motivation. The longer you leave the idea up here, the longer you've got time to convince yourself that it's not going to work. So if you're the type of person to just get going and sort out the problems as they come along, there's a high chance that you're going to be successful. You prioritize buying assets when possible. When was the last time you bought something and thought, is this going to actually bring money into my life or not? You don't need to be wealthy to start buying up long-term assets such as shares. You can start drip feeding money over time and help set yourself up over the long run to become wealthy. There is no doubt that earning the first $100,000 is some of the hardest money that you'll have to earn. But the truth is that getting your money to work for you and not the other way around is the only way to achieve real long-term wealth. I'm sure you've heard it before. However, of course I understand that it's less scary letting your money sit into a savings account rather than investing it for growth. But remember, banks are not there to make you rich or to make you lots of money. They're there to make money off your money. You're a lifelong learner. You are someone that knows that there's always something that can be learned. How many people do you know that when they have a couple of days off, they spend their time playing video games or on Netflix or on their phone? Look, there's nothing wrong with binging a Netflix series every now and then. We all do it. But I'm talking about the people who don't read, who don't watch anything educational, don't even like documentaries, who are not curious at all. They falsely believe that education stops at the school or college gate and that getting rich is all down to luck. That's because they haven't learned to spot the strategic steps that every self-made millionaire takes. They would rather critique others and live in their fantasy land where they don't have to think about their problems. But you know what happens with problems? If we don't deal with them, they get bigger and bigger. The strangest thing about learning is the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know. It's about learning things we didn't know before about ourselves, or learning things about our business that we didn't know before and using that knowledge to improve. A lot of entrepreneurs like myself think of life like a video game. It's never a bad time to pick up some new skills and level up. So the people that read those books and watch educational videos on YouTube are at such an advantage. People would say to them, "You got lucky." That's what they said to me. But you know what luck is? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So never stop equipping yourself with knowledge and be prepared to be one of the luckiest people that you know. You don't compare yourself to others. Comparing ourselves to others and trying to keep up with their success without fully understanding their situation is likely to make you make some silly decisions in the heat of the moment. Let's take David Beckham for example. He spent years perfecting his skills. He basically never had a childhood. He then went on to have a brilliant football career and earn millions of dollars. Now, I love my football, but if I was to compare my skills to David Beckham's, I look pretty average. But just because I don't measure up doesn't mean I should stop playing football or get depressed or resentful. Because if we were to put David Beckham in charge of a business without his face or his brand, I'm sure he would struggle. Comparing ourselves to others is literally a shortcut to inaction and stagnation. You spend time with winners. Back when I was in my early 20s, I actually won a skills competition to train with David Beckham himself. I learned a lot from David, not just about football, but about life and mindset as well. What he said and what came across was that he wasn't the most talented player at Manchester United's academy. Far from it. He wasn't the best dribbler, he couldn't hold the ball up in midfield, but he made up the difference by working on his weaknesses and spotting the opportunities where he could make the most of his talent. So he practiced taking one precise touch before the defender could get to him and crossing the ball into someone more talented to score a goal. He practiced over and over again. In fact, he practiced more than anyone at the club ever. Over a couple of training sessions and lunches, I learned that David was just a normal person, but with a silent and winning mentality. And he said he learned and listened to winners like Eric Cantona and Roy Keane about training well, having a healthy mindset, and being prepared. In a weird way, this time spent with David Beckham opened my eyes, and it helped me level up my skill stack, getting me ready for the corporate career and then the business world. Having a winning mentality is now more important than ever, as if you were to hang around with losers, talking about the lack of opportunities, about the bad economy, or their bad luck, you're gonna likely end up talking about the same things and drumming them back into your mind. If, however, you start hanging around with individuals who talk about being successful or the opportunities that are out there, it's likely to rub off on you. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you liked it, I've got another video up here. See you on the other side.